Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Pushing Positivity on the Pier, where we talk to amazing people, go deeper into their story, and highlight how they're pushing positivity and making positivity actionable each day. Today I would love for you to give a huge high-fiver morning welcome to Drew, aka Drew Chainzzz, aka, am I missing anything?
Perfect, nailed it. Let's go.
How you doing, man?
Beautiful. Everything's all gold.
It's all gold, so it's just not all good.
It's better than that. It's all gold.
So just to give everyone a quick background of how we kind of got introduced to each other, one of our friends, Emmanuel, basically brought you to my attention. And he said, Josh, you have to meet this guy, Drew. He's an amazing artist. He's doing amazing things. And anytime Emmanuel pretty much puts somebody in my path, I know they're definitely somebody I should watch out for. And things just kind of started happening, life, and 2 months go by, and the next thing I know, in my DM, somebody slides your tag into my DM, and they're like, hey Josh, check out this guy Drew, he's doing amazing things. And I literally reached out to you that day because I knew that it was that important to connect with you, because obviously you were doing amazing things. Obviously people saw the connection in terms of pushing positivity, in terms of really making a positive impact on this world. So for that, I just want to say thank you. I'm grateful to have you here. I'm grateful to learn more about your story and definitely to share that with the world. So with that being said, just thank you so much for being here.
Likewise, brother.
So let's talk a little bit about It's All Gold and the It's All Gold project. Now, what is the story behind It's All Gold? And maybe if we even take 2 steps back, you're also a cardiac surgical tech.
Correct.
So let's actually start there. So you still work in the hospital.
Yep.
So you get to see surgery pretty much every single day.
Fixing hearts in the morning, yep. And then creating them through art after that.
So let's talk about the cardiac surgical tech first. How'd you get into that?
Well, there's a strong influence through my mother, of course. Being Filipino, they always push you to go in the medical field and do that. And I was reluctant at first, but actually everything came full circle, because when I was like 10 years old, she actually took me to Take Your Child to Work Day over at St. Michael's in Newark. And she took me into the OR and she took me into the cardiac room. And surprisingly enough, the doctor said, oh, Andrew, hey, you're Joe's son? Yeah, that's me. And then they're like, you want to see the heart? He moved over the lung, saw the heart beating right there. And I think, I didn't really think anything of it, but fast forward, what's that, like 15 some years? I'm right there doing it now.
So your mother is actually in the medical field as well?
Yep, OR nurse for like 30 years.
I could definitely relate to that. I worked in the OR for about 6 years doing medical device sales, and some of the toughest women that I've ever met were the Filipino nurses. So I definitely,
I love them.
I definitely can relate to that.
They're the heart of the OR in the medical field, for sure.
All pun intended?
All pun intended.
So, cardiac surgical tech, artist, logical, not logical step? How did we get to the point where now we're working on art? Was it that what you were doing? Obviously that's impactful. Obviously you're having a huge impact on people's lives. What was that transition, or what was that point where you said, you know what, I want to be able to do something else, and where It's All Gold basically came to fruition? How'd that happen?
Just a bunch of different things led up to it. I pull from all influence in life, like family, friends, everything I do, because I always thought I was good with my hands. I worked at my dad's auto repair shop as a teenager, so learning how to fix cars and him teaching me that, and that's a big inspiration too. But yeah, and then I made a koi pond in my parents' backyard from scratch, just researched on the forums. So it's cool, like I just know how to figure things out.
So where was that, I guess, defining moment, or what was the point, or how did It's All Gold come to be? How did it start? Was it an idea amongst friends? Were you sitting in the cardiac OR, and one day it came to you divine? Like how did that idea or that thought come to you?
Well, it was always cooking inside of me. Actually, an ex-girlfriend that I lived with for 3 years, she introduced me to like personal development and stuff like that. So that's always something that from then was kind of eye-opening, that I just started self-reflecting and learning about positivity and how that impacts your life and what it attracts. But so that was always cooking, and then when I made Bouteille d'Amour, the bottles, the wax had a cool pattern underneath it as I was making them, and I thought that was cool. I thought it was the texture, everything, and for me things just click, and I feel the flow, and I just like, all right, I gotta ride this. And then a couple of my friends came over and they're like, you should do one where it's all gold. It's like boom.
So Bouteille d'Amour,
Mm-hmm.
how's that different from It's All Gold, just to let everyone know?
Yeah, so that's just a gift for somebody that you really care about, that's super personal, that to show them that you really, really care. So what it is it's a message in a bottle, and it has wax dripped all over it, and it's sealed with a candle. So in order to get the message, you have to wait until the candle burns all the way down, and then you could pull out the message. So I always love that like sense of anticipation, that like, so it's crazy. And growing up as a teenager, I always had a romantic side to me, like to pursue girls, and I would do grand gestures, and there was
So you were the guy that made every other guy look bad, basically.
And see, now this is me offering it to other guys to help them out now.
There you
So
go.
exactly. And just that, growing up with two sisters and a mom, women were always there for me, and gotta show those women you care about them.
Yeah, and what better way than with Bouteille d'Amour, right?
Exactly.
What does that actually mean?
It means bottle of love in French.
Okay.
Because it's inspired by champagne bottles that I originally started out with on my dining room table, and it just grew to this.
And so Bouteille d'Amour came first,
Mm-hmm.
and then actually It's All Gold came from that. So in terms of influences, I know you had said that personal development in your previous relationship and positivity. Were there any people that you really looked up to in terms of influence, in terms of positivity, or I guess what value or what actionable can you give to the audience in terms of maybe some books or some resources that they could look to if they're looking to go deeper into that personal development side?
For sure. Just for me, I connected with The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. That was a really good one too. But The Alchemist is cool because it has like a personal legend and treasure and a girl, and it has that mysticism to it, but it's still like, it has a lot of parallels to your life where you can say, oh wow, I could do that with this, and even though it takes place in ancient times. But great book for sure.
An applicable story even to modern time.
100%.
I would also attest to that. Now fast forward, Bouteille d'Amour has come to fruition. It's All Gold is now in, what phase would you say it's in? Are you still in where you're still pretty much cranking out prototypes? Are you churning out art at this point? Is it, where are you in that process? And is it a company? How would you define it at this point?
I like to label it as a positivity initiative through art. So just realizing that I love to give out free art. That's what I love to do with little pieces, but in order to sustain giving out free art, I have to have some revenue stream. So I sell bigger, grander pieces that have resin, and I enjoy doing it too. Like just being able to create, to take nothing and create something out of it, just to have an idea. And that's cool in life too, where if you have an idea, to make something from nothing.
Sure.
That's what I love about art too, just because I can't believe the stuff that I did that. It's like, oh wow.
So in terms of the connection between the It's All Gold project and the cardiac surgical tech, there's influences of heart in there in terms of that crossover. So just going a little deeper into It's All Gold, how much influence would you say you actually pull in that art from the OR?
Well, the thing about cardiac surgery that I like to say is that you have to be so focused and so present. And I think that's super important, where being present, you could fully put your focus into it. Like no matter how I'm feeling too, even if I'm sick and I just step in that OR and have to work with a cardiac surgeon and operate on this person, like just everything goes away. Everything. Like, I don't think about the art. I don't think about anything except what I'm doing. And I think that's super important, like, to be present in everything that you do, because you get the most out of the situation. You get the most out of the experience. And same with art too. I think those are the two main things where everything just goes away except what I'm doing here. And then you try to apply that to life too, like being here in this conversation. I love being super present there. Like, so you can connect, you can grow this relationship by being present.
I did a blog the other day about flipping your phone over, and how we have access to so many people in the world, and it's never been easier to slide into a DM and start a conversation. But sometimes we forget the people that are actually sitting in front of us. So is your hope with this art to be able to connect people? What is the higher purpose for this art? Is it to just make money? Is it to become successful? Is it to actually make an impact? What would you say is that huge, I guess, overarching goal for It's All Gold?
Yeah, the big picture is definitely the impact. It's giving free art is, I don't know, I think it's pretty unheard of. But yeah, the higher is the impact, the positivity that it's supposed to remind people. When I give people these pieces, I want them to put it in a place where they see it every day. So they start their day, it's all gold, with that type of mentality where I'm going to be positive. And especially starting that in the morning, let it carry through your day. And sometimes that's my morning coffee. Is waking up and then just walking downstairs and seeing all the art and being inspired, and it gets me excited for each day, and sometimes I feel like things get mundane when you're just working, and then, but when you find purpose and fulfillment, it's big.
So for anyone out there that may be in a similar role, whether it's in the OR or working that 9 to 5 or working in that field that they've known as their career, what advice could you give to them in terms of just pursuing their passion? I mean, obviously it's very easy to say just go after it, just go do it. What advice could you give to them to maybe just take those first steps? How did you start taking those first steps?
You just try to realize that that's something that you want. And then, if you don't fulfill, like if 9 to 5 is your thing, and then that's cool, because we need that to function as a society. We need people to be the nurse, be this, be that, like, to make everything run. I think being present was all about that too, because, my destination was really unclear, but enjoying the journey for me was very important. And just being present in the moment, and like, I didn't know I was going to get here, but it led me here, I think, through being present, like having each experience shape the next one.
What advice would you give to people in terms of being present? How do you make sure that you're present? Is it a subconscious thing? Is it something that you're aware of and that you're constantly auditing and you're constantly attempting to be present? Is it
right?
So how do you make sure that you're present?
I mean, it's a conscious effort for sure. Just like anything in life, if I wanted to be better at my job, I would research, certain techniques. If somebody wanted to be a better teacher, they go back to school and get their masters and stuff like that. So it just takes conscious effort. It takes self-reflection a lot, and to apply it every day. And, constant reminders of that. So if you have an It's All Gold piece, you'll be reminded, okay, I want to be present. I want to be there. And for me, I have this little bracelet that says passion. And it's kind of like passion in everything you do. And to be that, you have to be present. And I think you can get the most out of the moment and things like that, for sure.
So in terms of putting your heart into everything you do, is Bouteille d'Amour, It's All Gold, do they have equal pieces of your heart, or is it something that you're looking to build parallel lanes with both of them? I guess, do you have a favorite child?
Well, It's All Gold is definitely, it might have a slight edge on the bottles. The bottles is a business for sure, but with the purpose of spreading the love. Because I feel like those are the two huge things when it comes to people. They want to be loved, and I think the positivity side of it too just go hand in hand with each other. So to spread love and positivity, man, that's the main goal between two of the projects.
So I see Bouteille d'Amour. I mean, the first thing I start thinking about is, could that possibly not replace flowers, but who knows? I mean, is this when I think about somebody actually giving a gift, and the best part about a gift is really the anticipation a lot of times, right? And I can tell you that I'm horrible at saving gifts in terms of like, I just want to give it to the person, and like I want to see their reaction, and I just want to see that just joy from, oh my God, you got this for me. And so there's something about the Bouteille d'Amour that it restricts you from that instant gratification.
Exactly.
And we were talking about it earlier, where this could even be something that's awesome for like gender reveal parties for expecting mothers and fathers. So basically the premise would be, you light the candle at the beginning of the party, and then how long does it take for the candle to actually burn down?
About 3 to 4 hours.
Okay, and then essentially, and how doesn't it drip onto the actual note?
Oh, that's a secret, but yeah, it magically goes out an inch above the top of the bottle, and that's your indication that you're ready to get your message.
So wow, I could just see it now, just being in terms of that alone.
Mm-hmm.
That could definitely be a thing. I'm sure it already is, but for everybody out there, if you're having a gender reveal party and you don't just want to do the balloons or the cakes or the cupcakes or everything else you've seen on YouTube, and you want to be different, because we all know it's about being different these days, Bouteille d'Amour. I said it right again, right?
Beautifully said.
Beautifully said. So now, it's all gold. You give out free pieces.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good business move, right? I mean, not coming from me, but somebody
Right.
would tell you, well, why are you giving away free art? Why are you giving away free art?
I mean, it's to change the culture. I think like we all need to be more positive, especially living around New York. You know, sometimes people are a little bit more aggressive and
Really?
yeah. Just look how everybody drives around here too, man. It's crazy. Like, and that's really funny. You know, getting cut off, and sometimes that's just like, damn, F that person, give them the finger, and it's crazy. If you move out towards west, like in Seattle, this is funny too. One time I remember being in Seattle, and I went to pick up playing cards because we were gonna play Kings. This was like 10 years ago, and I asked the guy, he was putting away like milk, and I asked him, I was like, oh, where are your playing cards, sir? And then he goes, come here. He literally walked me to the aisle, pulled the playing cards off the shelf, and put it in my hand. I was, what is this?
It's amazing,
What's
right?
going on? Yeah, and you know that shapes you a little bit. You know, that impacts you, taken back, and you know, I kind of want to spread that to everywhere. You know, you need a little bit of that.
So, if you have somebody that ever asks you about where the playing cards, you don't just point. You go and you help them find the playing cards, because if you do, then you have people like Drew that are actually going to speak about it, and I mean that's how positivity gets spread. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to maybe take a look at some of the art.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you call this piece? What's the story behind it?
This is just a positive affirmation piece, just to help focus on the words that are here and see what it means to you. Gratitude is a big one for me, you know, being grateful. Nothing else matters if you're grateful. You can't be mad if you're grateful. You can't be upset. You can't be negative if you're grateful, because you're just super blessed. And self-awareness is a big one, you know, to constantly reflect on yourself, and personal development. You know, that's really what it's about too, you know, trying to get better. Like, as I said before, like as a teacher, you go back to school, but I want there to be like a focus on bettering yourself as well. And to do that you have to put conscious effort into that too. And purpose and fulfillment, passion, patience. You need positivity and gold.
Let's talk about patience real quick.
Yeah.
Right? Because this didn't essentially happen overnight with It's All Gold, right? How did you get to a point, or what advice can you give in terms of actually being patient, especially when you're going for something as big as It's All Gold and something that wasn't defined from the beginning? What is your best advice for actually having patience?
Well, I think that stems from just being self-aware too, because if you if you kind of know, or if you have that confidence about what you're doing, even though sometimes it's unclear, but if you have faith in the bigger picture that it'll all work out, you can be patient. And I think just being patient, man, it's important. It's important. So you don't rush things. You take your time. You make sure it comes out right.
Quality over quantity.
For sure. But on top of that, I think doing is actually a big thing.
So quality and quantity.
It's both. I love pulling at opposite directions, you know, to be selfish in certain ways and then selfless as well too, because to be selfish in a way where, like, you know, you feel fulfilled yourself, so
Sure.
you can help spread that to others.
So do you actually have an example of the Bouteille d'Amour as well?
Yeah.
So explain it. What do we got going on over here?
So here's, the message is sitting inside, and it has this this wax strip over it, and I feel like it's a very familiar aesthetic from the 70s that I pulled from. And then in order to get the message inside, it has to go all the way down, and it stops right around here. You'll see it go out, and then that's when you could push and pull the candle like you're popping a champagne bottle.
So people can actually, is this a handwritten note? Is it something that they send to you, like written,
So
or they
it's
call you, or how does that work?
Exactly. On the website, there's a space to input your message, and at the same time too, so you can customize the message, but we also have a different iteration where there's going to be messages of positivity, so you can get one for yourself, or if you don't know a message, there'll be pre-written ones for you ready to go.
Kind of like a fortune cookie.
A beautifully wax drip fortune cookie in a bottle, yes.
This could even be a centerpiece.
I think so, and it comes in different sizes too, so they look cool like next to each other.
Can you get different color bottles, or is this the only color bottle that you can do, or how does that work?
For the initial, this is the first version, and then we're gonna come out like seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, so the green one's gonna be next for the fall.
And in terms of the website, is that something they can go to now?
BouteilleD'Amour.com, up and running.
All right, can you spell that for everyone? I'm gonna put the link, but how do you spell it? Spell it out.
BOUTEILLEDAMOUR.
Say that 5 times fast, but that's where you go to get one of these things. Absolutely in love with it. I think that for every application, there's going to be a huge demand for it, but especially for that gender reveal. I mean, that's something that's pretty cool. And even for the motivation, I mean, every one of those applications, I'm just looking at it now, I'm like, what does that say in there? Like, all right, let's burn this
Exactly.
thing.
There's been ones where people want to propose with it too. That takes careful planning, but
has that happened?
There's been talks. We're trying to set something up with a couple of my friends. They really want to do that.
Okay. Is there any other art that you wanted to show us, or?
Yeah, I have my latest piece here with me.
Okay, what does that look like?
This is the first of its
Wow.
the 24-hour diet.
24-hour diet. I've heard that before. Where have I heard that?
Yeah, it might be a Drake line, you know.
Pull some influence from Drake?
Oh, love the guy.
Okay, I don't know how I feel about that, but
But yeah, this is an installation.
Drake.
Yeah.
No hate.
Drizzy.
No hate here.
But this is an installation where it's gonna be a couple champagne bottles, Dom Perignon and stuff like that. And what that really is just a celebration, you know, kind of like a gratitude. When you're drinking champagne, you're celebrating something. It's a good feeling. That's what I want to pull from. And it has my my signature gold drip wax, and it's encased in resin. This piece is so many layers on layers on layers. There's starts with painting the whole canvas gold and adding the wax, and then 2 layers of resin. I don't know, I just fell in love with the resin, pulling from other artists.
What is resin?
Resin's a clear epoxy, so it almost, you pour it on as a liquid, and then when it dries and hardens, it's like glass. So right here is like, it's literally.
So you could touch it?
Yeah.
Oh, so that kind of preserves the wax as well.
100%, and it has that, it gives it that strength, that glossiness with the resin, and I love that duality where the wax is so brittle and fragile and highly temperature sensitive, and then the resin gives it that protection, that glossiness, and it enriches the color of the gold too.
That's amazing. So if anybody wanted to contact you about the It's All Gold, Is there a website for It's All Gold right now, or what's the best way to reach out to you for one of these pieces?
The website is in the works, but the best way is to DM me. Check out the Instagram through my Instagram.
So indeed, it does go down in the DM.
Yeah, you can slide right in there.
And where can people find you in terms of your name on Instagram?
Yep, Drew Chainzzz, DRU_Chainzzz with 3 Z's.
Drew Chainzzz.
Drew
Again,
Chainzzz.
it kind of sounds familiar. I've heard there's this guy 2 Chainz, right?
Oh yeah.
He has no
guy.
affiliation though, right?
No, we're actually brothers. Same last name.
How did now I have to know, where did Drew Chainzzz come from?
It actually came from we'd go out and stuff like that, and we'd party, and then next thing you know, like 2 Chainz would come on. So I love to play on words and stuff like that, and puns and all that. So Drew Chainzzz, and like when we get crazy, and you know that persona would come out, and Drew Chainzzz, everybody would yell it out, and it'd just be a good time. But Chainzzz is bigger there, because Chainzzz is like a chain. We're all linked together in this world, you know. We all feed off of each other, you know. So I think that's a big thing.
So Drew Chainzzz making positive change.
Bars. That was a hot 16 right there.
Call Drake.
Hey.
Call Drake right this second.
Sign him.
So Bouteille d'Amour, It's All Gold, The Alchemist. That was one of the foundations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude, patience, all themes that go into your art, and I'm sure go into your everyday life in the OR as well. Is there a point where you could see yourself possibly leaving the OR and doing this full time?
I think so.
What is that going to take?
You know, financial stability with the business and stuff, because, you know, as being like a dreamer and artist and stuff like that, I think you have to have some sense of practicality there too. Like, you know, I'm not going to be a struggling artist, and you know, fair enough, where I have a certain lifestyle that I like to live, and I think just balancing that out until this goes that way, and then maybe go part-time and stuff like that, but don't tell the hospital yet.
So you're building parallel lanes right now, basically.
Yeah.
And in terms of, I guess, that don't tell the hospital, really, don't tell the hospital. You can get in a lot of trouble for this. Not really. I mean, who's going to have a problem with pushing positivity through art? But again, more than anything, I'm grateful to have you here. It's your story is a story of not only journey, not only of passion, not only of heart, but I could say it's all good, but I'll say it's all gold, because what you're doing really is a golden opportunity, not just for yourself, but for other people. When I think about what you said in terms of like it being your morning coffee, I could so see having one of these pieces of art hanging up, whether it's in my room, whether it's in my living room, whether it's right before I walk out of that door, and basically being that source of motivation, that source of, before I walk out that door, it's not all good, it's all gold. So for that, I just want to say thank you, and if there's anything you would like to tell the audience, or if you would like to tell them where they could find you, your screen names, your email, whatever would be the best way for them to contact you, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you for having me, man. Yeah, but I think just my message to everyone is be more conscious, be more present, put that effort into bettering yourself. Personal development is so important. I think that's a lost cause nowadays. But I think some people are getting more open-eyed to it now. You see more yoga, more spirituality happening, and there's a little bit of a shift. So I kind of want to keep pushing that in that right direction. Because there was a thing that we talked about the other day, right? Like it's crazy to see if you want to mix science and spirituality too. Because I think having that balance and that different polarity mixed too is a crazy dynamic. Because if you have stress, that's a thought, a way you perceive a situation to happen, and how that negatively impacts the body. Heart disease, loss of hair, gray hair, high blood pressure.
You don't seem to be.
No, not too much.
Lost of hair. Good genes, good genes.
That's how you could tell I don't stress that much. And actually, funny thing too, my father is one of 10, and he's the only brother that has hair. He must have a good son that doesn't give him stress. So, but going back to that, stress is crazy where it does all those things, and it's just a thought. It's mental, how it impacts the body. So I always say that the opposite also has to be true. How does positive thinking impact the body? How does it have the physical manifestation of positivity? You know, and if you want to break down the science, like stress releases cortisol and stuff like that negatively impacts your body, and on the same end, positivity and that thinking releases like endorphins and stuff like that. But going to the root of it, how does that happen? And what happens when you try to practice that on a daily and all the blessings that come with it?
So we've talked about yoga and other ways. What are some ways that you lower your stress levels? I mean, working in the OR isn't necessarily the stress-free life. There's definitely some stress in there. How do you manage that stress, and what are some ways that you incorporate into your day that could help maybe others lower their stress levels?
Well, like everything else, it's a conscious effort. So it just doesn't happen automatically. I've developed mentality in certain situations, right? Because not one thing applies to every situation. And I think, that has to be kind of employed too, that discretion, when you could do something and when not to. But like I have this thing with It's All Gold that I kind of tell myself, let go and let gold. Where it's like you can't control every situation. Sometimes you have to let go. When an emergency happens or where there's a sticky situation in surgery, like I quickly assess what needs to be done, what has to happen, and do it. Because if you stress out, then you're just fumbling over things, and everything's of the essence with time when it comes to that. So if you could quickly say, all right, this is what's going on, this is what I need to do, and just assess it, then take care of it, handle it like that. Worrying about it, stressing about it, it's natural, but if you can learn to phase it out through conscious effort and self-reflection and build to a place where you can get there, I'm not totally there, everybody but it's just about working and seeing that goal and getting there and enjoying the journey to get there.
Well, I think you've given more than enough value. And where can people find you?
Best place is Instagram, Drew Chainzzz, Drew_Chainzzz with 3 Z's.
3 Z's.
3 Z's.
Why not 2?
3 Z's and there's a slash through the Z. Well, when my tag.
Okay,
that's
not on Instagram. You can't put a Z with a slash on it.
Unless it's my icon picture. But no, it's a heart. But that's just an ode to, like sleep, but staying awake, being awake to everything.
I like it. So that's the best place for people to find you.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, Bouteille d'Amour, the It's All Gold project. Hopefully he doesn't see you in the OR.
Stay away.
Stay away. But that means you have to lower your stress levels. That means you have to become more aware. It means when you're in situations where maybe you can't control, you either, what was it again?
Let go and let gold.
Let go and let gold. Because at the end of the day, there are going to be situations that we can't control. But it's in those moments that we actually can control, where maybe we take a step back. Maybe we assess the situation, and maybe we really have the ability to move forward, not just in a haphazard, stressed way, but in a way that's strategic and in a way that's not only going to move us forward, but preserve ourselves as well. Is that a good way of putting it?
You get it, bro. You get it.
Well, with that being said, thank you yet again. Definitely go check out Drew Chainzzz. Amazing individual, amazing soul. With that, there's only one thing left to do.